Hey guys, Charles from Halt's Boots here, and today we're going to be doing a full review on the Copa Pier Point 1. Alright guys, first impression of the box. It's the same exact construction, just Adidas has decided to switch from the traditional all black with the white logo, the white Adidas logo. They've just gone with a light gray color, and then just added black stripes. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So right away, I believe the launch colorway, I think they also launched a whiteout and blackout colorway right after this came out, but this, I just wanted to go with the original colorway, just so I think this is what's mostly available at the moment, and just kind of give you guys a better idea overall. And just like all the new Point 1 models, you can see there is no string bag. It's just the tissue paper it comes with, Adidas logo, and then I've never actually read this, and I'm not going to, but it's got every single language of what I'm assuming is just a disclaimer or manufacturer instructions or just helpful things if you wanted to know anything in specific. So nothing really to it. I do like this colorway a lot. I like that it's mostly black. It's got subtle highlights of pink, a little bit of white, and then it's got a clear sole plate, but it's actually kind of funny because they went back to the Nemesis sole plate. And once we really start reviewing this, I will get into all of the specifics, everything, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna head over there right now. Hey guys, real quick, before we go any further into this video, make sure you check out our website, haltsboots.com, where we have tons of boots ranging from retro to the newer models. So head over there, use discount code YouTube for 5% off your next purchase. All right guys, so what we're gonna do next is just jump into the just overall tech specs about the boots. Probably take 3-4 minutes, just kind of give kind of a preview and just a first look at what exactly the Copa Pure is now. So right away, I figured we start with what I think is the most interesting thing about this boot is the sole plate. So this is actually a throwback to the 2017, 2018, and maybe 2019 Nemesis. It's called the torsion frame sole plate. So they actually decided to go back to this sole plate for some reason, and I really don't have any complaints. Because if you look, I actually have a pair of the Copa Senses when they switched the sole plate. If you look, it just kind of has these weird like prongs. The sole plate is still pretty neutral, pretty conical studs, I would say, good for turf. But it just kind of looks weird, you know. And I kind of like that they went back to this. And I actually do have a pair of the original Nemesis as well that we can compare them to. So if you see here, this is the original Nemesis sole plate, the torsion frame sole plate, and then if you go to the Copa Pure here, you can see it's the same exact thing. Now, I know that 2022 Adidas re-released or did a remake of the Adipure 1, I want to say, and I have a pair, it's buried in here somewhere, so I'm not gonna pull it out, but it actually did have the torsion frame sole plate as well. Did they do that to kind of tease us, like, hey, we're coming back with the torsion sole plate? I don't know. I do like that they kept the torsion frame on the Adipure. Maybe they just started to develop the Adipure remake before they came out with the new sole plate for the Copa Sense. That might be the best solution or the best reason. But I think it's just one of those things that you'll never really know unless you talk to one of the developers of the boots. One last thing before we move on to the next part, I forgot to mention this. If you look at the sole plate of the Copa Sense, it actually just has like a really high heel cup, which you don't really see often. The Magista Obra 1 had a similar thing, which I thought was okay, but I really don't like my sole plate creeping that high up. It just kind of makes me feel, maybe mentally, that there's something more stiff around my heel, and I really just don't like that feeling. So again, I'm kind of glad they went back to this for the next version of the Copa that we'll see in probably 2024. Will they do something different? Will they keep this torsion frame? Who knows? It'll be definitely interesting to see in the future. All right, guys, so moving on to the upper, it's nothing to write home about in terms of colors. I think we briefly went over the colorway. Maybe we'll throw the name of the pack for these new models and what the color is, but just mostly black color, nice highlights, nothing super crazy. I do believe it's calf skin leather now. It used to be K leather for a lot of the older Adidas boots. I know all my 11 Pros up here are K leather. Typically my favorite leather. I haven't found anything yet that stands out or feels as plush. But I'm definitely excited to try out this calfskin. I think they went with almost the entire boot wrapped in it. I know the Copa Sense, it was only the toe area, which a lot of people weren't too happy with. And to be honest, I can definitely agree with that. If I'm having a leather boot, it's not just I want my toes leather, it's the whole boot. The whole boot needs to be leather. So I think they've done a better job with that. And correct me if I'm wrong, I definitely could be wrong here, but from what I saw real quick, I think it's mostly leather upper. So another thing I like about this upper, it looks just a lot more sleek. It could be the colorway, but to be honest, I think that this boot will be 5 times the boot that the Copa Sense was. I didn't really wear the Copa Sense much, but just by looking at it, you'd rather wear this than something like this. Now I'm not saying that the look of this hates on the performance of this boot, but the Copa Sense, man, like, I don't know how well the lighting is, but it's just wavy. Like, why make a boot like that? This is not like a football boot, man. It looks almost like a cycling boot or just a completely different sport. So definitely moving back to the sleeker color. You can still sort of see that there's waves in the boot, but it's a lot more subtle. It's not so in your face about it, and that's something I really appreciate. Okay guys, so if you haven't noticed, the trend we've been doing is kind of just starting with the bottom of the boot and just working our way up. So the last thing we're gonna talk about is be the top, the laces. One thing about these is I think they're the right length. It seemed with the Copa Sense, it was just super long. Like I have a pair here, and I don't know if you just see these laces, they're tied through the last hole, and they're still just huge, versus if you see these, they're just not hanging that low. And my first pair of Copa Sense that I had, the laces were super, super long for no reason, so I would just wrap them around my boot, kind of like you do with the, I know a lot of guys do with the Copa Mundials. The laces are just huge on those, and so you just wrap it once or twice around the boot, which, yeah, it's okay, but I don't really think that's what the laces were meant for. It's kind of like the elastic tongue with the old Predators. They have an elastic band to keep the tongue there, but it's not for your laces. Your laces aren't supposed to go around your boot. So one thing I don't think we'll have to worry about is the length of laces on these. All right, so one thing I did want to mention about the Copa is a lot of players actually preferred the 20.1 and 19.1 over the Copa Sense. So coming this season, I think it's going to be interesting to see how many players are starting to wear this over the older Copas, not the Copa Sense, but the Copa 20.1s. I think we'll see a lot of guys wear these. I'll try to give you guys a better opinion in the last part of the video after I've worn them for a couple sessions and kind of just try to break them in. But we have a ton of MLS players. I know the captain, Dax McCarty at Nashville, loves the Copa 20.1 and 19.1 over the Copa Sense, so we sent him a ton of those. I think he'll just keep with those because he's more of a if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of guy and kind of player, so I can appreciate that. But I think we'll see guys like Declan Rice switch from the Copa 20.1 and 19.1 to the Copa Pure. I know Declan Rice is supposed to be one of the drivers of the Copa Pure, at least that's what I was reading on a few just retailer websites to just kind of grab some more just different opinions and tech specs about the boots. Will he do that? I have to go back and check this season. I haven't really been following West Ham or Declan Rice, but I do think we'll see him in these at least a couple times. I know David De Gea switched to these. I know a lot of other players have switched and had no real issue. So before we head into the last part of this video, which will be it'll probably be done a week from now after I've had a real week or so or a couple training sessions to wear this boot. It's just my expectations. Overall, I'm not really asking for anything crazy or anything demanding of this boot. I just want them to be comfortable, something that'll fit wide feet. Usually leather boots have always been the kind of cliche of fitting a wide foot. Now I do have a very wide foot and a very high arch, so I think the width might be a problem as well as the length. Because I float between an 8.5 and a 9, most of the time I'll still have room in the toe in most Adidas boots I wear, but I have to wear the 9 because they're just not wide enough. So I did go with a 9 in these. I'm excited to try them on tonight and kind of just get my first impressions of them. And hopefully we just don't get disappointed. That's the only thing I'm really expecting from these, not to get disappointed, and hopefully it'll actually turn out better. All right guys, so it's been about a week since I did the unboxing, the tech specs, the opening part of the review, just to give myself time to really get a couple of sessions in these boots. And to be honest with you, I have no bad thoughts about these. These are actually some pretty quality boots. So one of the main things I highlighted about these boots were the Nemesis sole plate, the torsion frame sole plate getting stuck back on these. And I really actually like the sole plate. It's the first time I've worn them. or worn this sole plate and used it, and I really liked it. On turf, it performed very well. The only time I had issues when I was playing on a lower quality turf field that was pretty old, pretty short, snagged the studs a couple times, but you're gonna do that with any boots, whether they're AG or not. I don't think you need to go out and get the AG sole plate for the Copa Pure. I believe I said that in the beginning part of the review, but just to kind of clarify and kind of go with what I said originally, it is good for turf. I don't think you need to worry about changing them for turf. For grass, you should be totally fine there. In terms of durability, I'll get close to the cam so you can see. 5-6 games in, no issues in the toe, no cracks in the sole plate, no sole separation, anything like that. I did, let me see if I can find it. Right here, I don't know if you can see, there's a tiny like tear, and it only tore the top part of the boot, so no real structural damage. I just got studded, so that's gonna happen with any boot you wear. If somebody catches you with a stud on the top of the boot, might rip a little bit, might tear a little bit, not much you can do there. So in regards to durability, I'd say these are pretty good so far. Usually I only can wear maybe a pair a month. If I stick with a pair of boots long enough, I maybe get a couple weeks out of them, especially if I'm in season training a lot. So not sure how these would last long term, but in the short term, they're holding up really well. I want to put these in my rotation right now. I have 4 or 5 pairs of boots that I wear consistently, but because of all these reviews, I don't think I'll get to wear them that much, but it is a boot I would throw in immediately and continue to wear. In terms of break-in, at first I definitely had a lot of pain in my feet. It was, I don't know what it's called, like hot spots maybe, but it was mostly in the arch, the sides of my foot, where it's to be expected, especially with me having wide feet, high arch. It's just what happens. I did make it through the whole session though, and I didn't have to worry about my feet hurting towards the end. I completely forgot. So that's actually really cool. So I'd say break-in times maybe 30, 40 minutes till where they stretch out a little bit, and then you shouldn't have any problems there. I did, however, have an issue with I think it was the first or second hole in the lacing system right here, where I just, on either side, it felt like maybe I just got it too tight there for a minute or something, but it went away. But I laced them up and just had pain there for maybe 5 minutes in a warm-up, and then I completely forgot about it. Second time I wore these, I did have some tightness in the toe, and within a couple minutes again, leather stretched out, totally fine there. So again, I mentioned the laces were the proper size, and earlier in the review, the Copa Sense, I had to wrap around the boot, whereas the Copa Pures, I could just tie them normally, didn't have to do any crazy lacing technique, a runner's knot, anything like that. So just another nice improvement to what the Copa Sense was. Not having the Sense pods on the tongue really helped. It is the calfskin leather tongue. I'll get you this little closer look. So that was also comfortable with touch on the ball. The heel padding was a lot more comfortable. Being that it's just one piece on each side instead of 4 or 5, that was kind of nice as well. So just again, another improvement. Overall, I don't have a single issue with this boot. I mean, maybe in the beginning it was a little painful, but it's always painful breaking in boots for the most part. There's very few boots that I've ever worn, if any, that fit my feet immediately. I'm good to go. So overall, I'd give this boot, I think, an 8 out of 10, 8.3 out of 10. It really did surprise me. It's a really, really good boot. And yeah, I'm looking forward to trying the laceless version here in the next couple weeks. If you guys enjoyed this review, please do me a huge favor. Give a quick like, subscribe to the channel, and just get ready to watch more reviews.